All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's show. So today we're going to have a special roundtable discussion regarding the future of business in the NFT space. We're seeing some of the biggest brands in the world, in some of the biggest industries in the world, flocking towards Web3 to kind of integrate their business and take it to the next level when it comes to customer loyalty. And I have some really, really awesome guests today. Ryan Pineda, the founder of Tykes, as well as Ready Player H and Zan, the founders of Steady Stack. And we're going to go top to bottom in the business of NFTs and the future of this industry. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like the video, subscribe down below as well. Shout out to our sponsors here on the show. Animoca Brands, the biggest Web3 gaming company in the world. ImmutableX, onboarding the most games in the Web3 gaming industry. And Unix, the leading Web3 gaming infrastructure in the space. Link in the description below for more info on all of our top tier sponsors. Let's go ahead and bring in our guests today. Guys, how are you today? Ryan, Zan, RPH, pleasure as always.
What's up, boys? Good to see everyone.
It's a pleasure, brother. Thank you for having us on.
Woo! Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just kind of let you guys set the stage, introduce yourselves for anyone who might not be familiar. Ryan, we can start with you. Just kind of give us your background in business and then what you're doing in Web3.
Yeah, to give you my 2-minute bio, Ryan Pineda got started in the real estate space back in 2010. 21-year-old. I was also playing pro baseball at the time for the Oakland A's and just kind of got my career started, just hustling, figuring out entrepreneurial endeavors. I started flipping houses after 5 years in the game and, grew that to very successful business. We went from 5 houses to 20 houses to 50 houses to over 100 houses a year being flipped or wholesaled. And that success kind of led to starting a bunch of other businesses. And so, today we have a tax firm with hundreds of clients. We've got, a fund where we've bought 500 plus units already, raising capital. We've got, a whole bunch of other things in the business space, especially in the education sector. Thousands of students nationwide with, real estate investing, content, and everything else. And then last year I got into the NFT space. And so we created a project called Tykes, which was really crazy, especially as a Web2 guy. I had bought NFTs and I joined a bunch of them and kind of saw what they were doing and decided to start my own. And thankfully for us, we did really well. We sold out pre-sale. We were talking about it off camera. I think I might have been the first guy ever to do a pre-sale, and It was really good. And then from there, the project has just continued to crush. And now we're here this week at our first ever Tykes Summit with 1,000 people in the crypto and real estate space coming together in only just a few months after launching. And it's been good, man. I think you're muted, John.
I am muted. And I your background speaks for itself. And I think we'll talk more about the Tykes Summit here in just a second, because it's part of the business of NFTs and kind of what you're delivering to the space, which I love. H, Zan, go ahead and introduce yourselves as well and what you guys are doing in Web3, because you guys are crushing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as the Tykes event goes and just really everything that Tykes is shipping, I mean, you don't see NFT projects ship as much product as Steady Stack and Tykes have in such a short amount of time. So we'll definitely dive more into that. Zan, you can start by giving a little bit of our business background, and then we'll
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's really exciting. This panel is going to be very, very action-packed and a lot of value because we have real legitimate business builders here. Even you, Johnny, you've had Web2 operations and businesses prior to having this thing of ours and launching that project. So real quick, I'm Zan Sheikh. This is my younger brother, Hassan Sheikh. We have a third younger brother as well who helps us in our business. And actually, what's really cool is our father is actually one of our major advisors for our businesses and our NFT projects. We've been fortunate enough to be building companies for the last 10 years. Hassan's always... Hassan and I have always been a great team. We've always done a lot of things well together. And I literally tell Hassan this all the time. It's like, dude, if I don't think of something, you think of it. And if he doesn't think of something, I think of it, which is like a really cool mix. And so, Hassan, I'll let you get into the NFT. But it's not even been a full year. Hassan came to me looking like a crazed man. And he was like, Zan, listen, we're doing great in Web 2, but there's something happening here in Web 3. And he opened the door to this journey, and we've busted it open. Hassan, you can kind of talk about that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a massive blessing to be able to break into the space. And like Zan said, I mean, we've been building businesses for nearly the past decade now. started when I was only 16 years old. And so now we currently do multi 8 figures in Web 2. And so when we, just like Ryan said, started getting involved in, the NFT space, Zan and I, we've been in crypto since 2016, 2017, always really, really big believers in blockchain and the technology moving towards the digitalization. And so when we started buying these NFTs, we got inside these communities, right, from Neo Tokyo to Doge Pound or whatever the case may be, jumping around. We were really able to see inside the hood of all these projects, right? And so after doing that, we saw that there was a lack of business experience and, business models that really just lead to sustainability because of the way that the space was being approached, right? There's a almost like a Silicon Valley type approach in the NFT space where it's all just like raise a bunch of money and then we'll get all the users and figure it out. But if you can mold that and mesh that with actually being able to produce revenues, cash flow, services, software, and real business models, I mean, you can really, really take it up a notch and provide immense value to your holders and your community. So that's exactly what we've done. We launched Steady Stack NFT back in August 2nd for 0.08 ETH. And we are sitting around 50x right now in a bear market, which is pretty incredible to say during a recession, right? So we're sitting around 4 ETH and got a ton of really cool things coming up and just here to set a new standard in the space, right? We call it the Steady Stack gold standard, being able to really set a new era and usher in a new meta of sustainability, business models, and really providing more value rather than just relying on speculation.
Absolutely. And just one thing that I think is a funny anecdote to share is I remember in the very beginning days of us putting things together and beginning to tap into the market and talk about what we were doing in the early days of us joining Neo Tokyo. And Hassan would come to me, he'd be like, Zan, bro, you're going to laugh when you get on spaces with so many of these other founders, not because they don't know what they're doing, but they're lacking this Web 2, this business building background, the business fundamentals that are required to turn a buck, right, to make some money. And I remember when we met Ryan and we heard of Ryan and what he was doing, instantly Hassan and I were like, this guy's going to win.
This guy's going to make it.
He's going to make it work because he knows how to make money, right? If you know how to turn a buck into the real world, you can do it anywhere
and produce an amazing customer experience, have good retention, all that type of stuff. So,
Johnny, you can take it away.
Yeah, no, and I love it. And the NFTs, building an NFT project, it is a business, and treating it like one as a founder is essential. And I think everyone here is doing a great job of that. So Ryan, let's start with you. What really were the key points of the real estate industry that you saw that you could bring the Web3 space and integrate it smoothly? So what inspired you basically to start Tykes and bring the value, and what did you see in the real estate industry and the connection to Web3?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's going to happen with Web3 and real estate and just honestly tech in general, right? Doesn't even have to include Web3. I noticed what so many projects were doing were community focused, right? And there wasn't actually a lot of things being done other than everyone kind of patting each other on the back. And I'm like, that's great, but what can we do to actually give people skills, opportunities, and ways to actually make money? And so, I built Tykes with that in mind. And, my vision anyways in the real estate game is somebody who's done syndications, who's done just normal transactions, flips, investments. And, I was a realtor. I've been to every part of, real estate that you can imagine. I see all the faults with it. I see how long it takes to actually get a deal done. It takes 30 days in a lot of cases. I've seen, the inefficiencies that title companies have and, transferring properties. I've seen, when you raise money, not being able to get rid of or sell your position, in a deal. Right. And you see all these things, and they're normal things that can happen very simply with blockchain. Right. The need for title insurance and everything else really kind of goes away because everything's transparent just on the blockchain. So, there's lots of tech opportunities in real estate for syndication, for transferring ownership, for just the opportunities are endless. And, it's an industry that is, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry just as is, and so when you look at what industry is going to be disrupted by Web3 the most, real estate's an easy target and nobody's doing it. And so I said, you know what? I see the vision. I see it. Let me go get my community together of people who believe this mission, who are, in this for the long haul. They don't necessarily care about, just making a bag real quick post mint. And let me go get these people. And that's kind of what we've done. We've only man, when did we mint? Like 4 months ago. We minted 4 months ago, and in the span of 4 months, just the achievements we've had have been. I literally don't think any other NFT project has done it. I mean, in the fact that we're holding 1,000%. Yeah, what?
You guys move too fast.
Yeah, I mean, we for one, we are holding 1,000-person event in just 4 months. Around real estate and Web3, it's the biggest ever. We're number one on OpenSea, above Bored Apes and everything. Like for like 2 days, I was like, wow, I don't even have any Web3 presence. To go be the number one is insane. And I had no Web3 like marketing with any of these groups or anything. It was just like, yo, this is a good product, buy it or don't. I don't really care. It's up to you. And with that, we've already created a whole marketplace for our members to buy and sell. We've created an ecosystem with our cryptocurrency called Tycoon, which people are using every single day. People are attending this event right now with the Tycoon that they got from staking. I bought a $1.5 million home, kind of as a gimmick, I call it, just to give people another way to spend Tycoon, to just show real world utility. And we created our own like custom Airbnb website to list these properties. I'm trying to think what else we do. We've had trainings, we've had people already do deals together and joint venture in the real estate space and make money. And so, yeah, my thing is, it's hard to make money in crypto right now, right? I think everyone would agree with that. Right now is the building stage to get ready for, the next bull run after the halving. And, for me, I'm like, hey, how do I help these guys make money today while also preparing for the future? And that's kind of the mission of Tykes.
Makes sense. And you're disrupting an industry that so many people want to be a part of, right? So I think it's brilliant too. People kind of are able to maybe have a little bit of I feel like they have a stake in the industry as well, being a part of Tykes. So I love that. Yep. And the inspiration is digital tycoons, right?
Yep. We wanted to, when I thought about this name for the project, I'm like, all right, what are we really trying to do here? And, we first started out as digital tycoons. Like, man, the real world tycoons are these guys who are making money with oil and industry and things and, railroads and all that stuff. And then you see all these hedge funds and people, these modern day tycoons. And I was like, well, I think the next wave of tycoons are going to be these tech Web3 focused people, AI focused people that, are building out these amazing platforms that are going to be able to scale very quickly and very infinitely without very much cost. And, I want to build I want to attract the people who want to build those things, and I want a piece of their business. That's the truthful thing. I want to bring, the innovative people into one place who want to build the businesses here. And I want to provide a way for them to get funded and for me to be a part of it somehow, because I know that, if my goal is to become a billionaire, it's not going to happen from saving up money. It's going to happen from building businesses that are disrupting industries.
Yeah. And creating value. And I'll tell you why I honestly am, honestly just grateful that people like yourself are breaking into the NFT and Web3 space, because, for a lot of people in Web2, they don't fully understand the space. And so they have a lot of hesitation in terms of jumping in because it's a new industry. It's very risky, right? But at the same time, like you mentioned with real estate, it's $1 trillion industry. And one of the biggest things I see as a plague in Web3, honestly, is people in Web3, they get too stuck in Web3. So everybody's just copying each other. Everything's just a copycat of each other. There's derivatives left and right. But when entrepreneurs like Ryan, right, and ourselves, they have already succeeded in real life industries, and they're able to bridge those industries to Web3, that's where the progress is made. That's where we add more liquidity, right? We're not adding or innovating if everybody's just building the same solutions, right? Everybody in NFTs, if they're doing software and NFTs, they're building an NFT analytics tool. And so we get an unnecessary amount of redundancy and saturation for the same solutions until people like Ryan or people like ourselves come in and bridge those industries. So hats off to you, dude. It's not easy. And I'm grateful that you're doing what you're doing, because, man, we got our products on Tykes Marketplace. And I see the Tycoon coming into our community wallet all the time. So
there we go, baby. There we go.
Absolutely. Real estate is just so ripe for disruption and innovation. I mean, you're completely correct, Ryan. It takes forever for title companies to do what they need to do. In the future, right? In the future that we're all building together, it's 2 clicks. It's, oh, you just bought the property. Cool. I'll send you the deed over. Send me your MetaMask address, right? It just shows up as an NFT on the blockchain. And now it's all verified, right? We don't need to go through a title company and make sure all these contracts are done, et cetera, et cetera. It's just 1, 2, 3, boom, property sold. And it's so exciting because when you begin to apply the Web3 methodologies and the Web3 technology to industries that desperately require it, I mean, I'm even thinking just, save real estate, legal implications, right? Yep. Contracts, things like that, signing contracts. How do I know somebody actually signed an agreement and didn't have somebody else for them, right? Things like that. We did it with trading and investing and having a path towards upward mobility because we had a Web2 program that was already kind of doing that. We had an algorithm and technology that was already kind of doing that. And we thought, okay, well, because that there's so much applicability and direct translation to having, technology and then having it be related to Web3, we did that. So I think it's really interesting as well, the intersection between Web3 and these industries that desperately need disruption and innovation.
This is where the opportunity is, man. I mean, everybody just wants to copycat. When you really innovate and bring new things, that's where the opportunity really lies.
Yeah. And, NFTs can form as so many different things. A membership, part of a loyalty program like we've seen with Starbucks, obviously disrupting, industries that typically require a high barrier of entry. Let's just say like real estate, bringing tangible services and product to a membership model with NFTs. It's really flawless. And like Zan was saying, I could see it totally going up to the level of identity being verified on the blockchain and every citizen having to go through a protocol of how not to be compromised on the blockchain. I could totally see it in a digitalized future. Right. So Ryan, I want to ask you, putting together such like an event like this in such a quick time period, that's part of the metrics of building almost, I would say both of you guys' community, building a mastermind, building a hub of people that are just so like-minded. We did it in crypto gaming. Ryan, you're doing it in real estate. And then you guys, Zan and RPH, are doing it kind of just in investing. So talk about what it's like, how important it is having that just hub of, Ryan said, you want to get a piece of everyone's business. So cultivating just a like-minded group. Tell people how important it is to niche down and get a group of people around you that are so like-minded and tight. They just want to push things forward, basically.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. I mean, so when I went into building Tykes, my background is in building communities. We already had, 8-figure education companies that, had thousands of students, right? And so we've already thrown massive events. We've already thrown workshops. We know how to, get people educated and take action and do different things. And so with Tykes, it was very simple. It was like, hey, if you're in Web 2, and you're interested in Web3, this is your spot. Hey, if you're in Web3 and you're interested in real estate because you don't really know what to do with the money you're making, or you're looking for other streams of income, come to Tykes. And so we've been able to just really take what we already knew about building communities and apply it to Web3. And this event will be a way for everyone in the community to meet very quickly too, and to really get bought into the vision of what we're trying to do. Because, even though we've done a ton in just 4 months, all of that for me was foundation building. And now it's really about executing on the vision. It took time to build the marketplace. It took time to stake. It took time to, we burned millions of dollars of NFTs to create a second collection of these boardroom beasts, people who bought 20 Tykes. We're already having our second boardroom meeting tonight, actually. And, just like the opportunities already in the boardroom, like people are paying, 60 grand to go join the boardroom at this point, even in a down market, because they don't really care. They're like, hey, I'm not buying this to flip it. I'm buying this because I need to be next to the right people who are going to build this industry, right? They're already successful in whatever it is they were doing. And so, it's very different than I would say the normal crypto mindset, which is like, most people,
we're going to the
yeah, most people, right? And I always kind of give crap to the normal crypto community because like the most of them are looking to just pump a bag. That's what you saw in 2021. And it's like, oh, well, this is what's going to make me rich. I'm just going to have bought into the right project. And then, hopefully it pumps and I get rich. Hopefully I find the next Dogecoin and I get rich. And it's like, bro, you're not adding any value to the world. Like, you're just trying to get lucky and hit the jackpot. That's great, but you still have no talent. And that's the way it is, right? So if you have talent and you have resources and you have work ethic, my positioning has always been come to Tykes because we want you. If you're looking to pump a bag and you're trying to get lucky, don't join Tykes.
Go to Vegas.
Go to Vegas.
Well, again,
we'll take your money over here. I'm in Vegas right now. I'm born and raised. Come support the city. There's lots of ways to take a gamble, but at the end of the day, like the people you attract are coming from the top down, right? So when I say things like that, I say it for a reason. I want to disqualify people from coming to the community. I do not want everyone. I want the right people. Because when you get the right people in a community, when you get the right people in a business, we have over 100 employees at our business. We have thousands of customers, right? Company culture matters a lot. And, trying to control culture in Discord, as we all know, is a whole different ballgame,
different crowd.
And it's like, guys, I have to come in there and be an adult sometimes. And I'm like, guys, this is stupid. Like, what are we talking about here? And you're getting mad that this guy said this or this side. Like, come on, guys. I'll
tell you why what you're doing is so important as well. And honestly, we're here at the event. We walked in, they're doing an office day today. It's like everybody here, it's like an amusement park for them because of all the value that's going around. It's incredible. We walked in, people are already running up to us from our community who share Tykes. But I'll tell you why it's so important what we're doing here, both in Tykes and Steady Stack. Both of our cultures are long-term oriented cultures, which is something that is very rare in Web3 and NFTs, because like Ryan said, everybody's just looking for the bag. They're just looking to pump and dip and whatever the case is. But, from what we've learned, right, over the past 10 years, I even attribute our success today to the fact that we get up every single day and we take one step forward. We're compounding every single day. I mean, people know that the eighth wonder of the world is compounding, right? Whether it's compound interest, compound growth, whatever it is. And so when you have communities like ours that are investing into our people, they're growing every single day, they're leveling up every single day. Not only does it increase the value of that network and that mastermind on a daily basis, right? It also creates that compound growth effect. And so while every other project is worrying about flipping and they're getting people, they're losing people, they're getting people, they're losing people, when you have projects like ours where people are building upon the foundations every single day, they're building a long-term culture. I mean, it's funny, then your bag's being pumped as a byproduct of the actual value that's being produced, right? And these are the types of cultures that we need in the NFT space to really push us forward. I mean, otherwise we're just going to be jumping from community to community. Nothing real is built.
And then even on top of that, if you think about what did Ryan say? He said there's actual real value instead of just trying to pump a bag and it's player versus player. And, the person who's buying after you is going to be your exit liquidity and you're someone else's exit liquidity. Instead, because of the ecosystem and the network effects, there's so much value on a flywheel that it's only going to raise the floor price. It's only going to raise the bottom. Now, Ryan, I do have a question for you because I really do believe that the projects that are going to be successful in the NFT space for the next 5 to 10 years are all going to be founders that are business owners in Web 2 or just in the real world, whether it's real estate or, like you said, the tycoons that are in oil or automotive, etc. I'm curious because, this is something that actually really I respect about you and inspires me so much about you. Is your ability to build and lead teams across a wide variety of operations and brands. And I think a big reason a lot of Web 2 founders are they shy away from Web 3 is it's new to them, right? They don't fully know it. They're not an expert. But also, oftentimes I see, okay, well, I got to focus on my business. I don't know if I can expand my vision. I don't know if I can expand and have a panoramic view or a panoramic operability to work on multiple things at once. So I'd really love if you could give some secret sauce, as we talked about earlier, of how you're able to manage and lead so many people and run so many projects successfully. Because it's one thing to run a bunch of shit and one works and all, the rest of it fails. It's another to have so many things going on. They're all operating at an A level. Would love to know.
We need the secret sauce, Ryan.
So it's funny because, the events is, it's broken up into 4 days total. So, 2 of the days, which Johnny has told me he's now coming to, it's going to be great. Wednesday and Thursday is the main event, 1,000 people. But these Monday and Tuesday, which today's Monday, are workshop days here at the office. And so you guys are in the office right now. You saw, there's probably 100 something people in here. Today we are learning about creating content because I believe as a business owner, everyone needs to be creating content because it's the next wave, right? We're all here on YouTube on a live right now. because we think that it's smart for business and it's good for, community and everything else we want to do. Tomorrow we're talking about business, right? Because there's lots of people who can create content and get eyeballs, but very few know how to turn that into a business, right? Because they're two totally different skill sets. And on the flip side, there's lots of great business people who know how to make money, but they have no idea how to market and get eyeballs and create content. And so when you create both together, it creates a beautiful thing. And there are very few people who are actually truly elite at both. So, I think that when you're talking about business as a whole and how do you manage people and, build multiple things, I didn't say it, but like my background is right now I currently manage 6 different companies that are doing 7-8 figures a year. And these are companies I own the majority of. I've started from scratch, and now we're going to go into acquisitions and buy companies so we can just start really ramping things up.
Unbelievably impressive, because for someone to even launch one thing and have it work, is impressive. To have it be done 6 times is like he knows something that we don't, basically.
Yeah, and so it really comes down to the same principles over and over again, right? Business isn't rocket science. Business is a mix of doing the fundamentals, which in business is sales, marketing, and operations, right? You got to get good at, marketing and driving traffic to whatever it is you're selling. If it's an NFT, how are you going to market it? Then you got to get good at selling it. What's the messaging? How are you going to go about, getting people to buy your stuff? And then operations. How are you going to deliver on the promise that you just sold? Okay. And so business is basic in that level, but the problem we have are humans. And so we have humans that work for us. We have humans who buy from us. We're all flawed people. We have competition competing against us every day. So how do you lead, a bunch of people? How do you recruit the right people? How do you create the right culture? How do you, have standards and processes so that you could integrate somebody in and out of the right process? And I think for us, what we've gotten good at is creating systems and processes, fleshing out ideas. We've gotten good at marketing, sales, and operations. And so whenever we have a new idea, it's more so plug and play of like, yep, this idea is good. The plan is great. We just need to get the right people to put in place to execute on this business or product. And once we do, let's go to the races. And so that's exactly what we did with Tykes. That's what we do with, all of our companies. It's what I do with content. It's the same thing, right? Like I put out a ton of content, and in order to build social media following, I've had to build out teams and create good morale, show them the purpose and the mission behind why we're doing what we're doing. And if you can get people to believe in, your mission and your purpose, it makes things way easier in the long haul, because you have the right customers and you have the right employees. And so you solve the major issue of people that prevent scale.
Yeah, and I think hiring the right people is just huge as well, because I've interacted with so much of your team. And it's like, if I'm talking to your event coordinator, they're getting things done in a second. If I'm talking to your video guy, they're getting things done in a second. So it's getting the right people as well. And so I think you've done an amazing job at that. And I think that's really helpful for the audience as well.
Absolutely. And they also really definitely respect you. You can see they hold you in like a very high regard.
They're bought in.
Yeah, no, for
They're
sure. You can tell, right? And again, we're not here shilling you. We're just being honest about what we're seeing, right? Like this is not, he didn't pay us to say this, everybody, right? We're being honest about, that is what we're experiencing.
I mean, I posted a story when I got in here, and I'm already getting DMs where it's like, oh, it looks like there's an army outside, right? Yeah. So it's like the culture is strong. I mean, that's the impact of doing a lot of things in real life and, taking it outside of Discord. And so I'm glad that both of our projects are doing things like that,
And so you mentioned, this is my last question for Ryan in regards to how he's been able to do what he's done with having multiple projects. This is important, right? Because who knows, there's one of you out there that is going to be the future Web3 founder, right? A future Web3 founder that is going to be at the echelon that we're at, maybe even further. You'll never be able to be the first one that did pre-sales, but hey, I mean, you could get up there. And it's really important, because I think if you can pick Ryan's brain and you can pick our brain, you can and Johnny's brain, you can begin to map out, oh, okay, this is how it happens. So lastly, Ryan, with all that you're doing, it's very clear that you're a phenomenal leader. Because it's very hard to do this level of scale and operation if people don't respect you, they don't trust, if they don't trust you, if they don't believe in you and know that you have their best interests in mind. So if you could kind of share us your journey about leadership. Maybe it's been through your religious values and maybe what you've learned from the Bible. Maybe it's just what you've learned in business. But I'd love to, how did you learn so much about leadership? And B, if you could give that one piece of advice to make somebody or put them on the direction to become a better leader, what would that be?
Yeah. So I think there's a few things to becoming a great leader. And before I get to that, I guess, yeah, I guess how I became one is interesting because I've never really read leadership books or anything. Like I said early on, I played pro baseball for a long time. And so I was in sports my whole life. And so whenever you're one of the best players on the team, it's kind of like implied that you're going to be a leader on the team, right? Like nobody, the scrubs aren't leading people, right? The players aren't going to respect them because of their talent level. And so, at the end of the day, I think that in order to become a great leader, first and foremost, how you carry yourself is the number one thing, right? How do you lead by example? Everything that I do, first off, I'm like, hey, am I doing everything I humanly possibly can? Not just in front of my people, but behind the scenes as well. How do I carry myself all the time? Right. And I heard you guys saying something as I was walking around. You're like, this is crazy to watch this guy in action. Because I was like here, and then I was there, and then I was this place, and then I was that place. And like, I'm navigating through this event, doing all the things that have to get done. And, to me, it's just how I am and like how I, carry myself. But to others, I sometimes forget. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's like not normal behavior, right? To see, true. Yeah, to see true efficiency and like work in action, it makes people like, all right, like I want to be around this guy, right? I want to follow this guy. And so I think that it first starts with having a higher standard for yourself and what you're able to do and accomplish. I think the second part of leadership is casting a vision over your company, right? The Bible talks about, the Bible's a very heavily influential thing on my life and how I carry myself. But, it talks about how without vision, the people perish. And so, if there's no vision for your company, nobody knows where they're running towards. Nobody has do you think that they're going to stay long if everybody's walking around aimlessly? No. A leader has to create great vision for the organization they're leading, right? And so when I talk about the vision of Tykes, are we there yet today? No, we're not there yet, right? But everybody knows where we're going, right? Yep. And they can see the steps that we're taking every day to get there. The problem with many projects and things is they say certain things like, yeah, we're going to have the best freaking whatever game ever, and it's going to be great, and just trust me, bro. And I'm like, no, I don't trust you. Your actions don't deserve trust. Like, why would I trust you? Like, you're not showing me anything that makes me believe that we're going to get there, right? Yep. But if your actions align with your vision and people can see that your actions align with your vision and you're doing the things that you're saying and you have track record of constantly, backing up what you're saying, people believe like, oh, if Ryan says this, it's going to go. Yep. And even if things don't go as planned, AKA things either in your control, out of your control, maybe, you were just wrong on certain aspects. Maybe there's a FTX meltdown and now there's just this whole thing you got to deal with, right? Yep. We know, though, that it will not affect the long-term vision of what we're trying to do, and we'll navigate through whatever hurdles that we have. And so leadership is not something that's developed overnight. I think it's something that starts with you and carrying yourself, and then it begins. That's how it begins, and then I think it ends with the other people that you are leading. If you can be selfless and take yourself and your needs and your wants out of the equation, and you could put, your employees or your followers or whoever, their priorities first, and you could think about their situation and how you can empower them, how you can help develop them, it gets people who want to follow you.
Yep. And I think, it's always going to trickle down from the top into the bottom, right? And so leading by example is really so important because that's what's going to set the stage for everybody else. But I will tell you guys very transparently and honestly, because Ryan told us this off camera and I don't think he wanted to share it, but it really is the hair gel, the haircut, and the skincare routine. You get those three, okay? You get those three, you're golden.
You're ready to roll, baby. That's all you need.
Guys, This
You need to get on his skincare routine.
I need his skincare routine.
This panel was filled with so much value. I just want to leave it off really quick. Ryan, Zan, H, where can people find you guys? Where can people get more value? And H and Zan will be joining me on more roundtable discussions in the future regarding the business of NFTs. Some of the, from the ground up, building, bringing businesses to Web3. Some of the most successful integration I've seen, and then with what Ryan's doing, just such high value that he delivered as well, and what he's doing with Tykes is undeniable. So Ryan, where can people find you? H, Zan.
Well, my guy Isaac said when the skincare utilities launch, so they're going to be on the Tykes marketplace. So don't worry about that. We'll have Botox. We'll have everything you need. But nonetheless, if you guys want to find me, you can go to ryanpineda.com. That's got all my companies, all of my socials, podcast, everything else. And if you're probably interested in Tykes from this, then go to tykes.io and we got you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely. For Zan and I mean, the best place to really check us out is we're extremely active on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. So if you go on Twitter, you just start with Steady Stack NFT. Again, at Steady Stack NFT. We've been doing some really, really cool things in the space. And like Johnny said, we'll continue to do this. We'll continue to bring amazing speakers and founders on to really teach you guys, what is going to be the future. Because with the types of stuff that we're doing with sustainability, revenues beyond royalties, and really just running these NFTs like businesses, that's what's going to take us the distance. And the longer that we can actually last, right? Like NFTs are luxury digital collectibles. And so if you really want the highest value luxury digital collectible, you need the one that's going to be able to provide value for the longest time. And that's going to stem from how sustainable they actually are as businesses. That's what we're doing. We're leading an entirely new meta. If you want to be, the 1%, you got to do what 99% of people don't do. That's what we're doing. You can find us on Twitter at Steady Stack NFT. My Twitter is at ReadyPlayerH. And then you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter. Zan's is at ZanShake. Zan, if you had anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So what Hassan said, I resounded perfectly. I think that's exactly what I would say as well. On Instagram, ZanShake. Post a lot about business and just being a higher level and higher standard individual. And again, Ryan didn't pay me to say this, but Ryan, sincerely, there's not too many people for entrepreneurs to look up to. I think there's a very small knit of people that show up and they're balanced. I think I talked about it on the last podcast, right? They have balance. It's not just, oh, I'm super rich, but my wife won't talk to me, or I got divorced, or, oh, I'm super wealthy, and I have a great family life, but I'm out of shape, right? And a person, I will say, you've inspired me and Hassan a lot. You've become a role model to us in a lot of ways. And, you are now somebody that when I think about pushing myself to new levels, when I think about doing a fast, right, or now every day I'm running a few miles a day, right, I'm thinking, okay, well, someone like Ryan would push himself, right? And those are the kind of things that, if we can find role models like yourself, it makes the journey a lot easier and it gives you a North Star. So for all of you watching, I strongly recommend, if you're not at this event, you've missed out and you need to get to the next one. If you currently aren't a Tykes, you're not holding a Tyke, go get one and try and do your best to get into the boardroom. Obviously, get a Titan and obviously get into this thing of ours. But again, Ryan, thank you so much for not only being a mentor, but being an inspiration to us. And I was watching the chat. You dropped a lot of heat. So
thank you, Ryan, and Johnny. You as well, brother. You crushed
it.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys coming to Vegas and speaking at the event and the kind words about balance. I don't know if it's going to work, but I put a link to my new book that came out last month, actually. And it's called The Wealthy Way for anyone interested. And it is about that balance as an entrepreneur and, pursuing the richness of life and all of the different aspects. And even today, just looked at it, it's the #1 bestseller in small business for a month straight. So it's been great. And I would love to have all you guys read that too.
Absolutely. Is it on Audible, Ryan?
It's on Audible now.
There you go. I think people are going to eat that up.
I'll serenade you to sleep on Audible. I narrated it.
Good. Love it. Gentlemen, thank y'all so much for the time. I know everyone here is super busy. I know the Tykes Summit is going on. Keep absolutely crushing it in the world of business, in the world of NFTs. Ryan, H, Zan, thank y'all so much. Guys, like the video and subscribe. Leave your comments down below if you got value out of this show as well. And we'll do more of these roundtables, bringing high-value conversations regarding the business of NFTs. So, guys, we'll be back next time. As always, see you then.
Thanks, guys.